And to speak, and then speak, and then back to you, Sean, and then the doc, to speak to what Ice was saying, I think, I'm going to disagree just a little bit. I do think there are pockets of brothers across the country that we check the dude that ain't what we are, that ain't really up to snuff. But where I will agree is there's not a uniformity across the board.
Like it used to be.
In terms of we all ain't dealing with you, right? Yeah. Sometimes men are more like, that's your business, man. Handle your business. I ain't in your, you know. But I think if there was a uniformity, right, where you see back in the day with Jim Brown,
them dudes,
Ali, you know, all them guys came around Ali to support. They weren't going to let Ali be a deadbeat.
Right.
You understand? Right. They weren't going to let that happen. So we don't have that kind of uniformity. Now we have a kind of singularity going on. But in pockets, there are groups of brothers that won't allow that kind of dad to come through. Yeah. You feel me? Right. Doc, what do you think? You don't understand the black experience, but you will validate it with what you're about to say.
Well, something I do understand. This is just another tip when you're dealing with an emotionally tense situation. I wonder what Sean would say. Something that I tell everybody is actions don't respond to words. And a hostile voice is kind of like an action. It responds to consequences. So the key is pick something that's not overkill or underkill. So like what you're saying to your friend over the phone is this is escalated. There is no words. The consequence is put space between you and the other person, put space between them without any chance of their bruising themselves. And so I think the key is if you can pause and think of all the actions that the other person's taking that can ignite you, think of all the potential consequences ahead of time that you could do. The counter actions, don't do overkill because then you have to take it back. Don't do underkill because it's ineffective. Mm-hmm. But come up with actions that will respond to that. Mm-hmm. And what I'm hearing is, geez, and I guess I don't know, some of the white experience is the same. When you have kind of a dominating, controlling, has to be right mom, and all they understand is you agree with me. Anything different, and there's hell to pay. So how do you?
He does understand the black experience.
So how do you
You're
deal?
A little black, ain't you?
Yeah. How do you? But that's how do you deal with that?
Right.
It's my way or the highway.
I dated one of the Pointer Sisters in '81.
Right after the filming of Car Wash. No, but I get your point.
But what do you do when you don't have a point of view? Anything that's other than 100% agreement with their point of view means that that child's going to be kept from you and told that you're wrong.
How many children are out there holding in what they really think and feel because they don't want to offend either parent?
Oh my God!
Hang on, though. Can I just add? To Jeff
yeah.
And to the doc. See, when you're in a fight or flight position, your entire system is taken over. So when he called me this morning, I become the voice of reason. Mm-hmm. I'm the little voice that says, get out of the house. Mm-hmm. But back to you, Jeff, when you talk about no scales in court, there's actually scales. You know, the Lady of Justice, she holds the scales.
Libra. And
she's blindfolded. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem with family court. I'm explaining it to you one time. This is going to be deep.
Go deep.
The blindfold is for objectivity. It represents objectivity. Mm-hmm. That means if you don't have enough money, you're not from a silver spoon background, we're supposed to not treat anyone any different.
Supposed to.
I'm going to get there.
Okay.
The problem with family court is not a court of law. It is a court of equity. What happens between you and your spouse is subjective because it operates from each one of your point of view. So when you walk into a courtroom, you want to explain to the judge what happened to you, which is subjective because the judge wasn't there. There is no objectivity. There's no absolute. Right. So now it comes down to equity. That's how OJ got off because it wasn't what happened. It's what you can prove happened.
Yeah. Wow.
So when you go into a court thinking you're right and it's going to be a good day, the reason you never feel that way is because the judge is not analyzing law in family court. It is a court of equity.
Wow.
I would also.
That's why if I get the better lawyer, I'm gonna beat you every time.
Because you get it.
We gonna twist it.
Yeah.
It's not about the truth.
Man, in this book, I'm gonna tell everyone, if you want to win, get the book. If you want to flip it, get the book. Because see, you have to know what the enemy is doing at all times. Can't beat him.
So listen,
joining him.
This is what we got to do really quickly. We're going to break, but before we go to break, can mothers become a type of deadbeat parent?
Of course.
By keeping the father / non-custodial parent away from the children because of lack of pay.
Yeah.
Is that deadbeat parenting? Somebody call me in 2.2 seconds. I'll be back. Holla!
Parental alienation is on the rise. If you're worried that your child is a victim of parental alienation, be on the lookout for the following behaviors. Brainwashed by lies. These kids are basically brainwashed by their parent and now regard their targeted parent as the enemy or as a worthless human being. Tragically, I have seen such division lasting for decades and causing fundamental emotional damage that cannot be repaired. Contempt, rejection, and disrespect. The child makes unkind comments and acts with contempt, rejection, and disrespect for the targeted parent. These comments are often irrational, insulting, and traumatizing to the parent who feels helpless and hopeless in stopping the madness. Rehearsed answers. The child has been taught what to say and do to hurt the targeted parent as much as possible. In fact, he may exaggerate the faults of the targeted parent to justify his actions. Long-term damage. There is minimal data on the long-term effects of such alienation on kids. However, we do know that the earlier in life the separation from the parent occurs, the more traumatic it is for the child. The basic tenets of loving relationships, trust, loyalty, and forgiveness are never learned, and the child may struggle to build a bond to their other parent for a lifetime. There are several steps that you can take to preserve your relationship with your child. Educate yourself. Parental alienation can be difficult to prove, especially in a highly intense forum, such as ongoing child custody battles. There are several books, though, with great resources that are must-reads for parents who are ready to fight back. Remain calm. Understand that you have been systematically undermined and that you are going to have to remediate the situation. Focus on what you can control and don't stress about other factors. Do not lose your temper, reject your child, or insult your ex in front of your child. Don't play into their hands. You'll only fortify their case if you lose your temper. Work with great experts. Hire a psychologist and a lawyer who are proven experts in parental alienation. The therapist must acknowledge the massive psychological impact such alienation has on the child and on the targeted parent. They need to help you remain game ready as you navigate this process. Your attorney needs to possess a solid understanding of this type of emotional abuse and how serious it is. Substantial legal skills and great strategies need to be brought to bear to fix this horrendous issue. For more information and tips, please follow me on Twitter, Dr. Gehring, friend Gehring Up on Facebook, and visit my blog at GehringUp.com. I'm Dr. Sylvia Gehring.
And this is why I say it's a damn game, because it's split down the middle. You have some psychologists and clinicians and psychiatrists that acknowledge and recognize a burgeoning syndrome. Then you have others that argue and say it's not a syndrome. There's no science to back it. But what we have are living, fractured families. That's what we have on board. Now, I know a gang of brothers. I got my homeboy Poet, does a lot of rhyming and stuff. We play a lot of his music. This dude here has been through hell and high water. I mean, his youngest kid is on, they done gave her meds. They done put her in all types of, medical supervision because she's been revolting against the mom because the mother has always disliked the dad after the child was born. So she did everything in her power to undermine, to relabel, to say his family ain't good, he ain't about nothing. The child's grandfather slapped her in the mouth like a grown-ass man because she spoke out against the treatment that her mother gave to her father. All she knows is every time I'm with my dad, it's good. It's meaningful. It's purposeful. I'm happy. There's something happening. Next thing you know, promiscuous early on. Next thing you know, running away from home. Next thing you know, trying to get back with dad any kind of way she can. But she knows my experience with dad undermines the narrative that came from mom. This is what I mean by can a mother, because this motherhood is some God shit.
Yeah.
It's some spiritual stuff. So if there is some evil, some bitterness, some enmity that's intermingled into the parenting, is mother not the worst parental scud missile ever created? Somebody speak on that. Let's go deeper.
I think that there's go ahead.
Well, I sent you something, Zoke.
I got it.
There's an article I wrote for divorcemagazine.com called Divorce Therapy, because years ago, I just do too many different things. I should have stuck with this. Years ago, sometimes the court or people would send me a divorcing couple, and it's pretty simple. In this article, what I talk about here, here's child A, and
We got it up right here, yeah.
yeah, here's child A and here's child B.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I meet with the couple, I'd say, I don't care about the two of you. I'm here because the court cares about your kids. So child A is focused. Child B is scattered. Child A can bounce back or is resilient. Child B quits. Child A is persistent. Child B bails. Child A is passionate. Child B is bored. Mm-hmm. Child A has some goals. Child B has no goals. Mm-hmm. Child A handles disappointment okay, and child B is easily upset. There's a bunch of other things. So the idea is, what I say to them is, I'm not here to see he said, she said, whatever. I'm here. What is each of your plans so that your child at 18 is child A and not child B? I don't care.
Wow.
And then how do we hold you? How do we hold you accountable to those things? And that's what I'm going to report back to the court, because I think most people would agree that child A has a better chance of succeeding and child B has a better chance of failing. And because you get into the he said, she said, and you're interfering, you referee, you get nowhere.
And I would encourage men and women to apply that same model when choosing their partners. What I want, what I want our child, the child I have with somebody, to be like this or be like that. I think we are encouraged as men. Women have a host stigma that curbs their sexual enthusiasm.
Or it's supposed to.
Right, it's supposed to. Yeah. Well, what it does is, it's like, well, but men, we're just encouraged. Encourage, have sex.
Go get them, Tiger.
Go get them.
You're a winner.
Men get the pussy. Women give it up. So we're encouraged, and men, especially young brothers, making some fucked up decisions about who they having children with. Women too. Of course, it's two in the bed, not at the table. And I also would want to lace young brothers with some game to say that men set the tone of a relationship, and women facilitate that tone. So, for example, if you're hanging out with a woman, y'all, no baby in the mix yet. Y'all hanging out, y'all dating, y'all having sex, y'all cool. It's relatively casual. And one day in the car, she starts flashing about nothing. She starts yelling, well, you said we were going to. That's a defining moment in your relationship.
Absolutely.
And the tone
Yeah.
you set. If you turn around and you start arguing, the tone you've set is that
that's just how we do this.
Argue.
This is what we do.
But if you turn to this woman and look at her and go, when you calm down, we'll have a conversation.
So, Ise, what do you think? Some advice that I give couples before they go on to get married or whatever, I say to them, have 3 knockdown, drag-out arguments. And I'm not I'm not talking about physical,
of course.
but you want to see the other person at their worst before you get committed to them, because you're going to see it afterwards. And so is the other person have to be right at all costs and they humiliate you? Get away from that person.
Yeah.
But I think you need to argue, have 3 arguments where you see that a difference of opinion becomes a disagreement, an argument, but it doesn't become a fight or a war.
Doc,
Go ahead, Jeff.
I tell you why I disagree with that. And this is because
Hey, Jeff, you are never to disagree with Whitey odds, okay?
Okay, well,
He's right all the time.
Okay, I'll find a way to
disagree. No.
I don't know
just
what the hell to do with that.
It's just a suggestion.
Okay. Something I should have followed when choosing mates that I did not until the woman that I am with now, that I should have done was this. I picked a girl up one day. I was late. I was writing on a television show, and we went long. So we were supposed to get together at 7. I got to her house at 7:45. I called her. I told her what was going on. She gets in the car. Her attitude is stank. Mm-hmm. I try to talk to her. She goes ballistic. She just gets real funky. I politely turned around and drove back to her house. I didn't say a word. I sat there until she got through. I said, tell you what, maybe there's an army of fairly intelligent, well-read, gainfully employed cats that ain't gonna whoop your ass that is lining up to date you. And I'm in their way. I tell you what, why don't I let you deal with them for 60 days?
Right.
And I'll call you.
Right.
I'll call you. I didn't take that course with relationships. My point being is that I don't believe in having knocked down, dragged out. I've been with my wife for 5 years now. We have never. We don't. That's not how we resolve conflict.
So you just stopped at the beginning. Good.
Right.
We stopped at the beginning.
So listen, when we come back, our resident wise man, the Magi, has entered the fray. Yes, he's a Magi. He's a wise Uncle Bobby, author of Real Men Don't Play. When we come back, he gonna hit us with his old school wisdom like only Uncle Bobby can.
Yeah.
You feel me? 2.2 seconds, crazy topic, pay-per-view. You better get current or you ain't gonna see your little boo. Holla!